We're still in creative writing, essay inspirational. You ready to go, Joel? Let me move that other mic out of the way just a little bit.
Joel Peterson, I call myself a professional patient.
Hang on, Joel, let's get that mic by you.
Yeah, and raise it up. Remember this one last year?
You've come this far, let's go.
Okay, there we go.
Much better.
Okay, the story is why I left the VA and why I came back. As you've all heard, 14 out of 20 veterans who commit suicide every single day don't use a VA. I believe there are first, second, and third responders.
Just a second.
It's my story, yeah.
Okay, so we want to go to the one that's at the
No,
bottom?
no, you want to use this one.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you,
Go ahead.
sorry.
I know there's 3 of them, so follow my progression. So they don't use the VA, and I believe they're first, second, and third responders because they have insurance. And the number one response, and the reason they don't use it, is because they don't want to take up a bed for another veteran. We're about to possibly lose 300 plus veterans hospitals around America. We need these veterans back to fill those beds. And thank you, Carrie, for allowing me to express my anger, because there's a lot of angry vets out there that I'm now reaching out to daily. And I've had to call people in this room on a suicide watch because a veteran was calling me with suicide. I left the VA because of mismanagement, corruption, and insurance. I still remember the sickness and nausea from when I first heard those famous words at our beloved VA hospital. Do you have insurance? Very lucky the person who asked me this was behind a window. We all know how insurance is extremely corrupt. I was begging for my life in 2014 and being told at the same time to quit stressing. It's in your head and just eat more. Primary care was in the process of getting rid of, which they did, of urgent care. Now 3 years later, there still is no urgent care. Most of us have to spend hours in emergency now for non-emergencies. Consults are monotonous and outdated. Canceled appointments by VA were brutal. Being 100% service connected and on Social Security, I make over $3,900 a month and I can afford insurance. This is when I started to deviate from the VA. I had my nephew set up Facebook on my Android phone, massive fear, so I could start researching while I was dying. This is what got me to Whole Foods. After seeing an ad on Facebook, because of following people like David Sousa. After seeing an ad on Facebook, I told some employees of my sickness. They sent me to someone who knew about autoimmunes. After purchasing organic food, coconut water, nutrients, I picked up a free magazine called Healthy Beginnings. I started to study all day and night. It became addicting. I truly was dying, after all. I was wearing a beanie that you could put a heat warmer in and put a heat warmer in my chest pocket of my heart. My house was 74 degrees and I was still cold. I was up to 20 scoops of coffee a day, vomiting, diarrhea, chills, fever, sweating, nausea, massive loss of memory, no appetite at all, anxiety so bad I had to count sheep to breathe. It truly felt like I didn't know how to breathe anymore. No sleep, 135 to 40 pounds. Depression, massive anger, outbursts, massive stomach problems, rashes everywhere, vision problems started, tinnitus started, vertigo started, poop was gold, green, not brown, massive arthritis, inflammation everywhere. Back goes out a lot, L1 to L5, degenerative disc disease, middle and upper bad back, etc. Now imagine going and seeing the second in charge physician, and he says, it's in your head. And you need to quit stressing and think about contacting mental health. As I went to an eye appointment that got canceled at Franktown Corner, I noticed Tandy Leather. I walked over and was greeted by Mike, a Vietnam veteran. He informed me of the leather program at the VA and gave me Carrie Fritz's name. Now, if I had to call primary care for a consult, I wouldn't have. Carrie said, don't stress and just come in and see if you like it. I liked and trusted her, Carrie. This kept me coming back. I still remember the fear of going out in public, including the VA. It was brutal. I almost quit leather, because I was so disgusted with the VA that I still cannot put it into words today. The Marine in me didn't want to leave my fellow veterans after what I was learning about the medical, food, and vaccine corruption that many, including other countries, are now facing. At the same time, I went to a private doctor, which literally saved my life. The VA was reading my hormones according to insurance, not evidence-based medicine. This is where the corruption is, the labs. Private doctors have all the evidence-based medicine the VA does, and they're using different readings. In other words, if you go to the VA endocrinologist, your testosterone level is at 251, 250 to 280 is what the VA says you're okay. While the rest of the world knows this is way too low. Due to evidence-based medicine, they also follow. I was at 253, and the VA said I was okay. I have now been diagnosed with long-term hypogonadism since it was missed for so long due to politics. After evidence-based medicine has proven that synthetic fake testosterone is bad for patients with autoimmune disease because it has caused arthritis, blood problems, and cholesterol for people with autoimmune diseases. The three lobbyists, arthritis, blood, and cholesterol, have kept this crap at the VA. And I cannot get bioidentical hormones at the VA at this time. This is when I decided to call myself a professional patient. After spending $10,000 on professional coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurship, I now enjoy coaching, consulting, and advocating for veterans, first, second, and third responders, including VA employees that are in the same position I was in. I've gained support for a high-level facility, possibly in connection with the VA. Arts and humanities, also known as trades, will be the focus of the facility. 24 hours a day is a must for this facility, backed by new and improved research. This will allow for more parking, more space for patients at the VA, and those of us who are ordered to stay away from bars, public parties, and hospitals because we have compromised autoimmune diseases will have a place to rebuild our lives after sickness and trauma. I believe we have over 140 categories this year at the Veterans Creative Arts Festival. Now imagine most of those categories under one facility where we can train, do therapy, start a business, and research all at the same time. This would help the VA and the community. Priceless. We were all professional patients.